Okay, so this past weekend was the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Cup Series and Xfinity Series. Bubba Wallace got the win. Pretty surprising win, I would say. Maybe the most surprising of the year. So some good runs I want to talk about. The Joe Gibbs racing cars, we would expect them to be competitive most weeks, but they've really turned it up on the past two races, honestly past three, with how well Chase Briscoe ran at Sonoma. They had a 1-2 finish at Dover with Denny Hamlin and Briscoe, as well as a top 5 from Ty Gibbs and a stage win from Christopher Bell. And then this past week at Indy, 2 in the top 10, Chase Briscoe winning a stage, and Ty Gibbs winning the in-season tournament for $1 million. So momentum is high in that team right now. Another team that's kind of turned things around the past couple weeks, Team Penske. We've kind of talked about them, maybe not having the most speed lately, but Ryan Blaney finished in the top 10 at Dover. Joey Logano finished in the top 15 with Austin Cindric 16th. And then this past week at Indy, Ryan Blaney finished 7th after winning a stage, and Joey Logano was running up front a lot early in the race. Josh Berry snuck up there late in the race, nearly had a top 10 there. So that team has definitely turned things around. Another team I want to talk about is RFK Racing. At both Indy and Dover, they've kind of hung around mid-pack most of the day, but late in the race, they've been able to sneak their way inside the top 10. This past weekend, it was Brad Keselowski finishing 5th and Ryan Preece finishing 4th. And then at Dover, it was Chris Buescher finishing 9th and Brad Keselowski finishing at 10th. So those are kind of some of the trends I've been noticing. A couple good runs I want to shout out from Indy. Todd Gilliland for Front Row Motorsports in the number 34. He finished 6th. Strong result for him. Front Row Motorsports has not been off to the greatest start this season, so I'm good to see them get a result like that. And then Catherine Legg in BJ McLeod's number 78 Live Fast Motorsports car. She finished 17th. Keep in mind, that's a non-chartered car, and that doesn't get the same payouts that the chartered cars would, and maybe doesn't have this access to some of the same resources. A great run for her. Using her experience at Indianapolis from running in Indy cars and other series to get a good finish in Sunday's Cup Series race. So Bubba Wallace's win obviously shook things up with the playoffs. So Ryan Preece, he had a good finish, and I think he gained a little bit on the cut line because his teammate Chris Buescher, who was above the cut line, didn't have the greatest result. But Bubba Wallace winning didn't help a lot. So that really, so Preece was maybe 50-something back, and now he's 42 back, but he's still going to need to win to get inside the playoffs. He has some shots to do it this week, or these next few races. Good short track racer, shown good speed on the road courses too. Wouldn't be surprised if he picked up his first career win to make his first career playoffs this season. And then at the top of the point standings, so Chase Elliott took the lead in the points from William Byron after Byron wrecked late at Dover. But now Chase Elliott finished 13th and William Byron finished 16th. But I think William Byron gained some points on chase throughout the day, and the gap is now 4 points. And the regular season championship gives 15 playoff points at the end of the year, or at the end of the regular season, which is the equivalent of 3 wins. So both of those drivers would need that because both of them only have 1 win on the year. And then Kyle Larson is not far back either, and neither is Denny Hamlin. As I mentioned, Joe Gibbs Racing has been really fast. I think Denny Hamlin will be one to watch. He could very well steal the regular season championship, coming off 3 top 5s in the last 4 races, 4th at Chicago, obviously the win at Dover, and 3rd at Indianapolis. So the next race we have is at Iowa. We have the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series. The Craftsman Truck Series is off again after a long off break going into their race at IRP. I think they come back at Watkins Glen, which is the week after Iowa. So I think a few guys to watch in the Cup Series at Iowa. We've only had 3 short track races this year. One was the preseason clash at Bowman Gray Stadium, which is only a quarter of a mile, and that was an exhibition race. It didn't count for points. Chase Elliott got the win in that one. He's a pretty good short track racer, past Martinsville winner. Could see him contending at Iowa. Denny Hamlin won at Martinsville. He might be the favorite. Iowa's pretty similar to Richmond. He won there last spring. Should have won there last fall too. And the Bristol race was won by Kyle Larson, but that is pretty different than Martinsville and Bowman Gray. It's a very banked track, and it's concrete, versus the other 2 are very flat, and they're paved, and they have tight corners. So Iowa is a short track that kind of races more like an intermediate track. It's maybe comparable to a place like Nashville, even though Nashville is concrete and Iowa is asphalt. This year's Nashville winner and last year's Iowa winner is Ryan Blaney, so wouldn't be surprised if he has something to say about the win as well. As I mentioned, the Penske cars have picked it up in the last couple weeks.